To the UK now, where economists have discovered that despite the record-breaking immigration that the UK has seen over the last 10 years, productivity is almost at an all-time low. It's not actually resulting in better living standards in Britain. Who knew? Check out this quote from think tank Resolution Foundation. They say, although the UK population is projected to grow by 1.8 million over the next parliament, the number of hours worked isn't expected to rise as quickly as population growth is offset by a higher share of employment made up by groups who work shorter hours on average, such as women and young people, and an older workforce who are less likely to be employed in the first place. Check out this graph of UK productivity since 2019. You would see that big dip there. And, well, it's not looking too good. So I found this interesting because this is what we're doing here in Australia, obviously. We're like, we need immigrants, we need need more people. Politicians are like, this is for GDP, this is for our future, this is for... And yet countries who have done similar don't look like they're faring much better 10 years after.
So Australia has a skilled migration program, and we always have, and we'll prioritise people based on that workforce need, not how much they can pay, not how long they've been waiting. We do have a smaller, much smaller humanitarian program.
Okay, so how is ours going to work better? Because
we select migrants based on the skills shortages we have in the country. So
does the UK.
Not as much. And before Brexit, they of course they shared borders with the EU, so people were able to move away much more freely. And but the Tories were still in charge, so they're talking about the period that the Tories were in charge. And of course, one of the things that fueled Brexit was this huge influx of Polish immigrants, which upset people in the north of England in particular. So I don't think it is necessarily comparing apples and apples. And again, this says that, the UK productivity has been plummeting since 2019. So that's over a long period of time. That's fine.
But let's be honest, though, if we didn't have the levels of migration that we have in this country at the moment, we would be in recession. We are already effectively in recession. Having high migration simply props up the economy.
That's a good thing.
No.
You don't want to be in a recession. Trust me, I'm old enough to remember the last one.
It is not a good thing. When you... OK, so great. We're not actually in recession. We're technically in recession. We're not actually in recession, but your cost of living keeps going up because we don't have the houses for people to live in. We don't have the schools for their kids to go to. So at what point does the snake stop eating its own tail? We bring in all the people. We bring in all the people to prop up the economy. Part of the reason we're not building houses fast enough. But they then blow up the economy and cause inflation.
No. Part of the reason why we are not building houses as quickly as we could and as quickly as we should is because there is a shortfall of around 90,000 labourers and tradies we need to build the houses to reach the target that we've set.
Just crossed off the list of the skills that they'll be importing.
There were some, but there's still a huge number of things like carpenters, electricians and everything. They are on that list. They are prioritised, and we are bringing them in as much as we possibly can.
Not the skills that are needed to build a house are on that list, Joe.
There were some skills that apparently they seem to think that they had enough of, whatever. Looked pretty weird to me. But where there were shortages, clearly, were in sparkies and carpenters, and I think joiners as well. And they're bringing those in. They are on the priority list, and they are indicative of the people we're bringing in. Why we're bringing in the yogis and stuff, I do not know, but they are on the list. And that is an example of why just saying we're going to cut migration and that will solve the housing crisis is simply not how the market works.
All I'm saying is that is what,
dare I say, a communist would think.
6 million increase, they did it for the same reasons that we always say we're doing it too, and it simply hasn't had the effect that they've needed. Yes, it has propped up their economy since 2010 quite effectively, but in 2024, it ain't cutting it.
Yeah, that's right. Their economy isn't growing as much.
So why do we think we're going to fare any better?
That's because the Conservative government is doing a terrible job of managing the economy, and when Labor gets elected under Keir Starmer, everything's going to be fine.
I'm sure it'll...
Well, you're the one having a crack at it.
Don't even say that, Joe.
I'm sure it will absolutely work like that.